The 1-2 Football Podcast. The voices of tomorrow. Here today.
Is Dean Smith the man to take Aston Villa forward? I don't think so.
Why can't Everton break into the top four?
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will lead Manchester United to a Premier League title. He just needs time.
Hey guys, welcome back to the 1-2 Football Podcast. I'm Nathan. Today we are talking all about the new managers arriving and returning to the Premier League, plus our second ever O2F title match. As usual, I'm here with Ollie and Kieran. How are you guys?
Yeah, I'm good. I've still got a little bit of chuckles from that little blooper that you guys didn't get to hear or see. I'm good. I'm a bit bored. I always find the international break very boring. So I'm excited for the Premier League. Actually, I don't know if I am excited, to be honest, because West Ham could absolutely spank us one. But yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, last one till March. Very relieved about that. So plenty of Premier League football. I think now there's a lot of those double game weeks that you get. So I enjoy them. So I'm excited. And Conte's in charge, and I've definitely lagged there. So that's good.
There's certainly going to be an exciting. I'm fully not aware of what the fixtures are this weekend, to be perfectly honest with you. But we are definitely going to see 3 new managers in charge, all English, which is I feel weird for the English league, surprisingly. But 3 new English managers, obviously 2 that we are very familiar with managerial-wise, and 1 we are very familiar as a player, that we know has been a manager, but obviously most known as a player. So we'll probably start with him. Steven Gerrard to Aston Villa. I mean, firstly, and we're going to touch on Dean Smith later on, do you feel it was fair that Dean Smith got sacked?
Kieran, you can go first if you want.
I've got a mate who's a Villa fan. So he was very personally associated with him, and he thought it was unfair considering everything that Dean Smith has done, that he should at least be given the opportunity to try and turn things around. The trouble is, though, it's the Premier League is so cutthroat that if you lose 3 or 4 games in a row, and I don't think they've won since they won at Old Trafford. So when you go that long without a win, and you're kind of... Last season, the expectation wasn't necessarily there for Villa because they survived on the last day of the season. But once they did so well, your expectations of them go up, including ours, because we all put them to finish quite high up in our predictions for the Premier League table. So when you consider that as well, I think another part of it as well was the system that really wasn't being effective. It was the chopping and changing of the back 5 to the back 4, the swapping out of players in certain positions, and transfers not really taking off. People like Emi Buendia and Leon Bailey. He's obviously had that performance against Everton, but that's kind of it. Morgan Sanson as well is someone who's not really done anything since he joined. So I can kind of see where the ideas come from. And I think, considering how quickly it came about that, Gerrard was appointed, I'd imagine that they'd been thinking about it for at least a few days, probably a few weeks. And similar to kind of the Brendan Rodgers thing with Leicester, you think someone's had so much success in Scotland with kind of progressive attacking football and how they play and how they recruit. I think it probably was the right thing to do, similar to what Spurs did with Conte, knowing that he was available and able to be convinced. It is perhaps a bit of an upgrade almost.
It is certainly interesting. I was of the mind that Dean Smith wasn't the person to take Villa forward with these new expectations, being at the time the 3rd richest club, now the 4th because of Newcastle. But I wasn't aware that I had a lot of faith in him to do well, but I thought he probably wasn't the guy overall. But I thought he'd get a chance to do this. When you lose, I think it was 5 games in a row, especially with that high expectation. You spent a lot of money in January, so you recouped a lot of it with Grealish. But I to be honest, maybe because of weird bias, I think Dean Smith's a good manager, but probably not to the level Villa want to be. And now Gerrard coming in, I think for Gerrard personally, this is the perfect job because it's that he probably would never going to make that jump from Rangers to Liverpool. And we all know Gerrard's end game is Liverpool. That's where he will probably end up if this goes well. But Ollie, do you think coming into Villa, he is the right fit for the club?
Firstly, I just want to say I can see why Dean Smith was sacked, but at the same time, I think you have to look at the fact that you know, he did lose Grealish, a massive pivotal part. A lot of his new signings did have a lot of injuries, and the inconsistency in the team that was changing wasn't helping him. But at the end of the day, he is a manager, and you know he has a whole squad to use. So I think 5 games, like I said, is very cutthroat. So I think you can argue it was harsh, but at the end of the day, yeah, he might have taken them as far as he could. In terms of Gerrard, I think it's going to be an interesting one without a doubt. He could have stayed at Rangers and made an absolute dynasty, and like Celtic, won back-to-back titles. He probably could have done something similar there. I think he probably moved because there's a bigger chance of European success in the future with Villa. Not now, but in the future. I think Rangers, you know, they don't do great in like Europe and stuff like that. And I think Villa have the building works in place to be able to push on and actually do something maybe like Leicester and build a club and actually go forward to make themselves a proper threat. I do think it could be a slight risk in the same way that Lampard didn't succeed. And I know he's not gone to Chelsea. Chelsea is much more pressure, much less time to make an immediate impact. But I think there's still a lot of pressure on him because of who he is, how he's done at Rangers, and the form that currently Aston Villa are on. They need to have a quick change. And if it doesn't go well, it could be quite detrimental to him. So I think it is a risk. But I think it's probably, I would have taken it if I was him. Aston Villa are a great club. They've got amazing platforms to move forward on. And for me, I think the biggest bonus for him is Aston Villa no longer have a manager that has relied so much on Grealish. He wasn't there when Grealish was there. He wasn't there when Grealish was there. So he's not a manager that's having to, this season, change the tactics to build around as a team instead of a unit of one. So unlike Dean Smith, I think he actually has that advantage that he didn't have Grealish. So he doesn't need to change from relying on him to not having him.
Yeah, I think one thing everyone knows about Gerrard is he is a leader. I should mention he's my favourite football player, so I might be a bit biased here. But he is a leader. He captained that Liverpool side for so long, and he came into Rangers, and automatically the whole thing was because Rangers weren't the Scottish champions like they were here. They hadn't won the league for a longer than 10 years. 10 years, I think, since they'd been relegated to League Two in that whole financial problem. So they were not the Rangers we know now, or we knew of the past. This was not a good team. They'd just been beaten by some team from Luxembourg in the European qualifiers the season prior to him coming in. So what he has done has turned Rangers to a team that had quite low standards. They were bringing in a lot of players. I know Gerrard kind of brought some older players in, but their defence was like Felipe Senderos and players like that who were just way past it. Clint Hill and those guys. He set standards, brought in young players. He made Morelos a fantastic player, one that we will probably recognise from the Scottish League now. So what he did was kind of change the standard at Rangers. And while tactically a lot of it actually comes down, this is what I think was a great business decision for Aston Villa, come from one of his coaches called Michael Beale. He's one of the people that Gerrard relies on for that tactic stuff. And whereas he is more of a manager, he manages things, whereas Michael Beale is the guy who kind of sets things up. And obviously Gerrard will know, and the tactical team will still fall with Gerrard. But Villa bringing him in and bring a lot of his staff in, I think that is a good decision, because you have a lot of his staff that are already there. They'll know how he works, so then they don't have to get used to each other. Gerrard just has to get used to the team. And Villa do have a very good team. Gerrard, I think he likes to play a 4-2-3-1. You're going to see Buendia in there, in the 10 probably. Bailey out wide, maybe him in the 10, depends on who's injured. Watkins on the left, Ings up front. That's a strong attack in the Premier League, and one that probably won't get you Europe in this current season, but for the future, they're all relatively young players at the same time.
It's not an easy run-in for Villa either. I've just had a quick look, and the first 2 games, I was talking about this with a person I know who's a Villa fan, suggesting that, okay, yeah, Dean Smith, he needs a win here, but we don't know where it's going to come from, because up first is Brighton, who's been in really good form this season. And then similarly to that, it's Crystal Palace as well, who are on the up. So don't think it's really 2 games you want to start off with. And then following that, it's Man City, Leicester and Liverpool. So it's in terms of first 5 games, you'd be very unlucky to get 5 of the big 6 or big 7 now. But considering the teams who aren't in there, considering their form and their kind of potential so far this season that they've shown, it's not exactly the start you want. There's an opportunity for some statement victories here to just exactly show kind of who he is as a manager and what kind of team Villa will be under his reign.
That's the one thing which I don't think he's tactically that complicated enough for it to be like a huge overhaul everyone's going to have to buy into it. I think he'll know how to get the best out of what he's got, and obviously with Beale and that working with him, then they'll be able to look like slightly more complex. But one thing with Gerrard is there's not necessarily a set real style of play. You know, Rangers were very hard to beat. That was the first thing. They were very hard to beat, and they were good going forward, which, I mean, they're a good team, so naturally they are, but they conceded I can't remember how many goals it was, but I want to say it was 10 or less last season. I know it's a different standard, but that shows, you know, that defensively they could be defensively solid in that scenario where Villa have struggled this year. But if we move on now, so we'll quickly touch on Dean Smith. Obviously, he has left Villa and he's now at Norwich. I mean, what were your initial thoughts on this appointment for a man who hates breaks, only taking, 4 days, 8 days off to join a new club?
I think it's wrong. I think he's a good manager at the wrong club. And I think I would say that to anyone that took on this job role. I've said this forever. Norwich are a team that deserve to be in a league between leagues. They deserve to be in a league that's in between the Championship and the Premier League. And sadly, that doesn't exist for them because I think they do well there. It is a poison chalice. They do the same. They're on the same roller coaster ride. They go up, they go down, they go up, they go down. But yeah, I think sadly he's going to get relegated. I think that's, you know, I'm pretty sure his targets will probably be attempt it at the best you can. I think in an interview, I could be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure I read that in an interview he said our target is to try and stay up. So that sounds like the board have said, do it to your best ability. And if you do go down, we'll give you the ability to rebuild and then have another crack at it. So I think really it's sort of, this will just be his introduction to the team. And then next season in the Championship, because let's be honest, we all know they will be his best attempt to then try and build a team to stay in the Premier League. But yeah, since 16, he's only had 4 months out of football. I think maybe he needs a bit of a break. I know he doesn't like it, but a manager that's lost on the last 5 games, you know, sort of deteriorating a little bit this season, maybe a break would do him good. He doesn't want it, but maybe it is what he needs.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time he's joined the club on a sort of negative run of form. So with Walsall, he got the move to Brentford. To Brentford, he got the move to Villa. It wasn't a case of being sacked and applying again. You know, it was he got them roles, he got offered them jobs, but headhunted. So this is the first time he's joining a team on poor form. But in a way, is it kind of this next? I mean, it's a long period for a free hit, but unless it goes terribly wrong and they don't win a single game for the rest of the season, I mean, Kieran, it's kind of a free hit for Dean Smith to kind of go and. Where last time he was in the Championship with Aston Villa, a team that was struggling under Steve Bruce, he took them straight up. So do you think that it will be the same thing for Norwich?
I think even if it wasn't Dean Smith in charge, I think it would be. But I think that the fact that you've got Dean Smith in charge, it makes it even more likely, just because of, I think he's a manager who clearly has a lot of Championship pedigree and ability to coach in that division and do well, as we've seen. I don't want to say he was out of his depth at Villa, because he certainly wasn't. But like you said, when the ambition grows, you kind of need a manager that hopefully matches that. And maybe Smith wasn't quite the perfect fit for that. So I do think he is almost better suited to, I don't want to say struggling team, but, you know, teams that will have to grind out for wins and, you know, 75% of the time won't be the team dominating possession, dominating the shots, dominating games, winning more than they lose. You know, that's kind of, unfortunately, he's somewhat fallen into that category of your Bruce, Allardyce, Pardew, Hodgson, to a certain extent, of those kind of people, those kind of managers who will steady a ship more than move the ship forward. So I do think Norwich will go down. I think they'll put up perhaps a bit more of a fight than people think. I do still think they'll finish bottom, likely. But then I would not be surprised if they win the Championship again, because it's what they do as a club, and they really need to try and get out of that mould of kind of just losing these players. We saw it with Fulham as well, when they just recruited so many players. And I had a quick look earlier, and you know, they brought in a lot of players for around between 5 to 10 million. I haven't heard of any of them before they joined, and I still haven't really heard of them doing anything, because, well, they're just losing games at the moment. So you need to kind of, if Norwich are going to have to try and do something that Brentford, Leeds and Wolves did, where they were almost a Premier League team in the Championship. That was kind of how it felt, by just how they played. You know, Wolves stayed up and thrived in that first season. Leeds stayed up and thrived. Brentford have I think will stay up first and foremost, but in certain games have looked very, very strong. And that's, I'm no expert on this, but if you're going to remain in the Premier League, you kind of need to play as a Premier League team in the Championship, as opposed to suiting to how the league plays. Because if you can get promoted, not by necessarily being kind of grisly, rough teams, and just get promoted by being the best team. And even though Norwich were that last season, they obviously lost a massive part of what made them so good, which was Oliver Skipp, who's now obviously in the first team at Spurs. So it's about permanently keeping those players from going down to the Championship who've already perhaps impressed in the Premier League this season. People like Rashica, who's got a bit of a price tag to him, Lees Mello as well, who can surely stamp a bit of an impact. Keep a hold of them, develop them more as players, make them learn these things in the Premier League now, and then hopefully when they are back, they can actually thrive and survive. That's how they need to get out of this trap sooner rather than later.
I think you just said Buendia, and I think it's in hindsight he's probably kicking himself that he signed Buendia to Aston Villa to then join the club that he was at. Maybe Buendia would be so helpful for him right now.
But I mean, Norwich are in a weird position. The facilities and they're not got the infrastructure of a Premier League club, so or they might, but they don't have the budget. They're in such a weird situation. But is Dean Smith down? But a team that could be joining them in the Championship next season, Newcastle United. Obviously, the talk of everyone, Premier League, everyone playing Football Manager, they want to manage Newcastle United, 200 million budget. What are they going to do in January? And they've got the man that's going to lead them into the charge, Eddie Howe. I mean, again, what are your, when you first saw it, obviously it wasn't first choice, what were your initial thoughts when you saw it?
Wrong man. I don't like it. I think it's very short-term thinking from Newcastle. I don't think he's going to be the man to take them into the future era. And I know you can't just jump into it. I know you can't just be like, here's, that much money, go and win a title. But I mean, to a certain extent, Man City did very nearly do that. I know it took a year or 2 and 3 to actually get there, but I think it's going to be a much quicker process than this. Right now, Newcastle need to forget about the future and concentrate on the present. And that is avoiding relegation, because there's no point having all that money in the Championship. And personally, I know he survived relegation with Bournemouth before, but if you look on the back of his most recent seasons with Bournemouth, they got gradually worse. They finished 12th to 14th to 18th. That's a man in decline. He's been out of the job for quite a while now, so hopefully maybe he's perfected his trade slightly. But at the same time, it could really backfire. I think one of the reasons why Eddie Howe was being brought in is because he knows players like Wilson, like Ritchie, like Fraser, so he can get some of those players working. And he is a good manager. I just don't think he's the man Newcastle need right now. And funnily enough, this is the sort of time where I think you get someone for 6 months, someone like Steve Bruce, who they sacked previously, to actually make them stay in the Premier League. Someone that can actually...
You watch Newcastle under Steve Bruce. Were you aware of how they play?
I didn't mean to say Steve Bruce. I meant to say Sam Allardyce, who they'd sacked previously, and actually get them staying in the Premier League. Someone that can just... No one that's going to make them play fantastic football.
Allardyce got relegated in his last job.
Yeah, but if you're talking about...
That team was better than Newcastle.
You're looking at people to keep you in the Premier League. You're not looking for people like, for instance, they were going for Unai Emery and Villarreal. He's not going to be a manager that you bring in now to avoid relegation, because he's not used to that sort of pressure. He's not used to that sort of football. He's used to being up the top end of the table. You need someone to come in. And I know Eddie Howe is used to being down there, but as we saw towards the end of his Bournemouth reign, he did slowly make them get worse and worse and worse. And he was a manager that, to be honest, he didn't... I feel like right now Newcastle needs stability at the back, and he isn't the most defensively minded manager. I'm pretty sure we actually had an article that went just out just today, and in their article, it said how he conceded, I think, something 60 goals every season. Right now, Newcastle needs someone that's going to be able to make them strong at the back and make them stay up. And that means, in my mind, they need someone short-term for 6 months. Eddie Howe is short-term for 6 months before he probably gets sacked, because I don't think he's the right man for it.
I disagree. I think Eddie Howe is the right man for the job. People forget when Man City first got their takeover, it was Mark Hughes was the first manager they hired. It was
already there. He was already there when they hired him.
It was Mark. They stuck with him. They could have got rid of him. Steve Bruce was already there, but Mark Hughes was the person. They kept him. He wasn't there for 2 months. He was there for a few years. And the reason why, because he knew the league, he knew the team, and he knows what is required to stay in the Premier League. Because a lot of the guys Newcastle were going for, realistically, Fonseca, Emery. Emery knows the league, but again, it's a different level of the league. He's used to working with Arsenal. Fonseca doesn't know the league, and any manager that was above that level is not going to Newcastle, because they're in, if you've seen that team is dire. It's not a good team. It is a bad football team. They've got about 4 good players. So with that opportunity, Eddie Howe, I think, is almost the perfect man, because when they do get relegated, because I believe they will, he will be able to guide them up. Obviously, it should be an easy task to guide them up. But if they stick with him, I think he will get them up, and he'll get them to where they need to be, kind of similar to what Dean Smith's done. He'll get them to where they need to be, and then it's a kind of, you pass over to someone with a bit more winners' credentials to their side, to their name, because he's a progressive manager. And I think also you have to consider, I'll lose my train of thought here, you have to consider Newcastle fans have dealt with Steve Bruce for the past 2 years. Defensive football was not working because they were conceding goals for fun anyway. They were not an attacking team under Steve Bruce. So if Newcastle fans just want to see a team that are going to get up and they're going to have a go. And when you consider how big of an impact the fans have, especially at Newcastle, I think it is the right man, because he speaks well, and the football he wants to play is something the fans want to see, and they'll kind of feel maybe a bit freer from. I know they love Rafa at Newcastle, but he was also a defensive manager. So it's something different that they've not had for a long time. And I think you might start seeing the real best out of players like St. Maximin, Wilson, and I think Fraser's been awful since he's joined Newcastle. So you might see something from him as well, knowing that he has that experience under Howe, although it didn't end too nicely for him there. And obviously, I think the real test for Howe is the transfers. Obviously, we saw how it went in the last couple of seasons at Bournemouth. I mean, a lot of his signings actually turned out to be pretty good, afterwards. But at the time, they weren't so great. Solanke and I, probably the two that stand out, although Solanke's been very good for them now. So, Kieran, how do you feel sort of in going into January? Would you trust Eddie Howe with the recruitment?
I think doing it in January is a tough one to begin with, because in terms of availability, it's much more obscure as to who you can get. So going in with a war chest, it can be a bit of a risk. Not many players are really available, and you don't necessarily have as much time to convince them with these negotiations and those sort of things. And you'd look at Newcastle right now, and you think, okay, yeah, there's a bit of ambition in 2 to 3 years' time. But if I'm in my prime, I wouldn't want to join a club that is on the decline at the moment. Yes, it's going to be. I think Newcastle are going to go further down before they kind of rise up, kind of from Phoenix from the ashes kind of cliche. I think that in terms of both your opinions, I kind of sit in the middle with it. In the, Nathan, you think it's kind of the perfect guy, or you think it's wrong. I'm kind of like in the middle with it, because I do think that Eddie Howe is, as I mentioned, those kind of managers in that bracket where you think, oh, we'll get you in to do this. I think he's just above that, but not on the levels of, European pedigree managers who would ideally like to be there for 3 to 4 years, who like prime the kind of takeover and get the best out of all the players that have been signed, likely by Eddie Howe. I think it's kind of a stopgap, not necessarily 6 months, but I would say about 18 months would be my kind of rough estimation for how long he'll be there. I think, as you said, Newcastle are a dreadful team. I think 4 good players is a stretch. So I think they will go down. But I'd imagine that a lot of the players will stay, just because they probably do think there's a good chance that they'll go back up. And I do think they will go right back up with Eddie Howe. But then I think when they're back in the Premier League, perhaps with players who will have joined in January or in the summer, I do think Eddie Howe would be let go then. And then you go into someone who will have this new breath of fresh air with this squad after getting promoted from the Championship, to have a real crack at staying in the Premier League, kind of similar to, I'd imagine what they'd have is a Leeds, Wolves, Brentford effect, where they kind of are a different animal in terms of what, when you look at Newcastle, you're playing Newcastle, you think, right, we should win that. Whereas, if you look at kind of Leeds and Wolves now, you think, maybe on their day they'll beat us. I'd imagine that's how Newcastle are going to go now. But I do think that right now it probably is the right thing to do with Eddie Howe, but I don't think it's going to necessarily be a longish term deal for him at Newcastle, just because I don't think, similar to Smith, he's the kind of manager who takes you into that next period of like the history of Newcastle as a football club.
I think we all are echoing. I think we are all echoing each other. As a quick point, I think we all are echoing each other, saying, they need someone down there that can help them in the current moment. But I think we all kind of see, maybe me and Kieran more so than Nathan, that Eddie Howe isn't the man to go forward. But in the same way, Man City made gradual improvements. Hughes to Mancini to Pellegrini to Pep. So he's not going to be the finished product now. But like you said, I think right now transfers is a big thing. I don't think Eddie Howe's got the capability to get the right players in.
I do think one thing that is encouraging regarding transfers is Eddie Howe obviously went through an interview process and he highlighted players that he wanted to bring in. So there is obviously some sort of connect between him and the board over the recruitment side of things, which I think might bode well, because there was a few things with Howe at Bournemouth where maybe he was using a couple agents and it was kind of just go, oh, have you got a player here for me? You got a player here for me. I don't know if that's true. That's alleged. I have seen it. But that is an encouraging thing that Newcastle, there seems to be a clear strategy from Howe, and he apparently interviewed very well. And there is a clear strategy of what Newcastle want. And hopefully, I mean, I really want to see an English manager succeed. English managers never won the Prem. Sir Alex, the closest thing, and he's Scottish. So I'd love to see an English manager lift the Premier League at some point. And if that could be Gerrard or Howe in some point in the future, that would be brilliant. But, I mean, 3 managers, who do we think quickly will fare the best out of those 3? We'll start with Kieran.
Gerrard.
Ollie?
I think it's going to be Gerrard.
Yeah, I think we're all going to say Gerrard.
I said Smith and Howe aren't going to do great. So, but who's going to do better out of me and you in the upcoming?
Oh, that was great.
You will join us for the quick set up. Let's go.
Right, so now is I guess part 2 of the 1-2 football quiz. I lost last week. Still quite devastated by that, and that therefore means this week I make the quiz. So I will bring that up now. Can you all see this?
Yes.
Yes. You might want to make it.
You already know exactly what the first section is then.
FA Cup. Oh, for God's sake.
FA Cup section. Oh, no.
Yeah, so obviously we had some FA Cup replay when we were recording this last night, when this will go up this past week. So we're going to kick things off with the FA Cup.
I kind of thought what you might do, so I kind of went through seeing the seeding teams for the World Cup, but I didn't even think about...
World Cup did go through my head, but I thought...
Thank God you didn't go World Cup.
No one likes the international break, so... I actually don't know how many because I put in some blank slides because I've got answers on the pages. Put in some blank slides so you don't see them when I bring up the PowerPoint there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't actually know how many I've got. I
I
think there's 3.
This is definitely a round for Nathan, because I don't follow really lower league.
So it's not about the results. I'm not going to ask you who scored in the Solihull Wigan game. Don't worry. It's just going to be questions related to the FA Cup. So this one, who wants to go first out of champion and challenger? Would it be better?
We'll let challenger go first.
Okay, so Ollie, you've got the first crack at this question, guess.
No!
So, you ready?
Yeah.
For the 2021 FA Cup final between Leicester and Chelsea, what was the attendance, mate? If you were to have a guess, what was the attendance? And as you can see there, you'll both get an answer, and the closest one will get a point. And I'm going to go and get a bit of paper so I can keep tally of that.
That's a tough one, because obviously you've got to factor in certain things that were happening around that game.
Yeah, you had COVID. I'm guessing it was definitely at Wembley.
Was it the first game of fans back? Leicester Chelsea, properly?
Cup final. They did a test run with the Carabao Cup final.
Oh yeah. But this was. I remember this. I remember it feeling like it was the proper. This was. I remember. I enjoyed this a lot.
What's the attendance of Wembley? I should know this. We literally were talking about the biggest ones the other day, weren't we? Here we were. West Ham getting their new upgrade, which was going to be... I'm going to say, and I honestly don't know, I'm just going to say 65,000. I don't know.
I'm going to go, I don't know if it's 50% or 25, because that makes it's a tough one there. I'm going to go in the middle of kind of what I was going to say. I say 41,000.
Well, because we were talking about COVID, I thought maybe they just went with it and they just said everyone go. I can't remember.
They didn't say that. They did not say that. It was very much. This is a test event. We're not going to throw 65,000 people in the same.
What's the actual
20,000? It's like 90 something thousand.
Yeah. Very high.
That's why I thought my 60 was quite a lot less than it could have been. Oh.
Yeah, social
So this
distancing.
next question, that's obviously 1-0 to Nathan. This next question, I believe I'm going to do it as a kind of buzz-in because
Okay.
it can be you can see the question, you can either buzz in or we can do Nathan has a first guess, then Ollie.
Well, I mean, before you get the question, I think you should just decide before someone.
Okay, we'll go for a buzz in, but you have to let me finish the question.
Okay.
Okay, right.
How are we buzzing?
So, question 2.
How are we buzzing? How are we buzzing in? Hands or?
Say your name.
Ollie.
Right.
Nathan.
So question 2. In the 2016 final, Manchester United beat Crystal Palace 2-1 after the game went to extra time. Crystal Palace took the lead. What I want to know from you, though, is who scored their goal?
Nathan's. Is this Palace?
Nathan? Yeah, Crystal Palace.
Jason
Who
Punchin.
scored their goal? Was Jason Punchin?
For some reason, did Lingard get the winner for Man U?
Yeah, Lingard's got the winner. Yeah.
Lingard came to my mind. Then I was like, yes, I got this. I saw it was like Palace, and I was like, I don't know.
All right, that's 2-0 to Nathan. He's off to a fly, defending the crowd. Right, so question. Say again.
I said this wasn't going to be more round.
Come on,
there's
it's the
more rounds
mentality
to
there
come.
that's
There's
keeping you
more
away from
rounds
the
to
belt.
come. Right. Question 3. Which Premier League team have lost the most FA Cup finals in history? Get 1 point for the correct team, 1 point for the correct number of defeats. So what I'm going to do for this is Ollie is going to say a team and a number. And I'm going to write these down. And even if, say, you get the right team and the wrong number, but then you say the wrong team and the right number, I'll give you 2 points. So essentially, you have 3 guesses each, but it's going to alternate.
Okay.
Right, so Ollie, you're going first.
I don't know. Who gets to the FA Cup
I'm trying to think. Yeah, it's got to be teams that get to the final, isn't it? It's not just going to be like, I think Hackman's
I mean, I'm not going to say the
Premier League team, isn't it? So there's 20.
Yeah, I'm not going to say what I'm not going to say in case you say it and you're an idiot. I'm going to say Chelsea and 4.
Okay, I'll go my first guess. Liverpool 7. I mean, the FA Cup's been up for years, hasn't it? It's been up
It has, yeah. That's what
ages,
I'm thinking.
isn't it? So
Really, team that's not really there anymore.
Back to you, Ollie.
Is it going to be some team that's not there? Ipswich 6.
Okay, right. So it says Premier League team. So I'm going to let you have another go.
Yeah, see, just testing you, making sure you're awake.
Well, I put it in the question, so I don't think you're awake.
I'm 2-0 down. I'm panicking.
Also, where'd you pull Ipswich from, of all teams?
Because I thought logic. I'm going to go with Man U 5.
Yeah, man, I'm stuck between a few of like who probably were in a lot of finals. I think I'll go with Man United as well for my one. I'll say 4.
Last guess.
I'm stuck between 2 teams.
Has no one got it then, I'm guessing? No one's got it.
Oh, no one's got it yet. I was going to say that at the end, but you've asked it now. So
Yeah.
that tells you that all the teams you said are wrong and the numbers are wrong.
Numbers are wrong, so maybe
So
it's way
don't
more.
go for 4, 5, or 7, or Man United, Chelsea, or Liverpool.
How do you go for 6 as you go for another way bigger? So tough.
Oh, this is hard, you know.
But it is a bit of a lucky dip in a sense, isn't it?
Yeah. I think I'm going to guess the team. I think I know what team it is. Also, away for Ollie, but numbers the one that's getting it.
I'm going to say Aston Villa and 3.
I'm going to say Everton 6.
That's a great shout, Everton. That's a great shout.
Yeah, I hope it's right.
Oh!
Oh,
So
yeah,
close,
again,
yet so
3-0.
far.
It's been a 4.
So, take that one.
Here we go.
Everton.
So going into the second section, it's 3-0.
Okay.
I mean, is it Istanbul here?
Right, so the next question. Let me just try and remember what it is so I can work out how we're going to structure this. Yeah. So again, it's going to be an alternating round. So
I'll
who
go
went
first this
on
one.
last
Because Ollie
So
went
Nathan
first.
goes first. Nathan goes first on this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay. So 2019 final, Manchester
Oh, you
City
know what? I
was
don't know.
6-0, and there were 4 goal scorers. So I
don't
want
know
them
it.
all named. And Nathan, you're going to kick us off.
Is it one for getting all 4, or is it?
You just
One.
get one guess as a Manchester City player.
Yeah,
who
but like
wants to score.
if I guess like 2 right, do I get anything for that? Or is it no, nothing?
What do you mean? So
Like so, if there's 4 goal scorers,
yeah,
if I name 2 out of the 4 and I get 2 wrong, do I get nothing for that?
you'll get 2 points. It's
Okay,
going.
cool.
So you'll say it's Liverpool. If you say Mane and he scored, I'll go, that's a point. And then we go to Ollie and he says,
Oh, okay,
John
so alternates who
That's a
scored.
point. Yes,
Okay,
it's
yeah.
alternating.
Okay,
each
so
individual one.
we say one name at a time then, or do we?
Yeah,
go-
yeah.
Yeah, one name at a time, and I'll
I
tell
think
you whether
I've-
it's right or not.
I think I know. Do you know what? I feel like I'm going to be like confident and wrong. Gabriel Jesus.
That's a point to Nathan.
There we go. Tell you what I know.
That's 1 goal scorer down. 3 to go.
I mean, I'm just going to go with an obvious one because I'll kick myself if I don't. Aguero. Well, if I didn't say
well,
it, I would have kicked myself. So
I understand.
All right, who else could have scored for City? 2019. So they got, maybe Foden. Probably. I'll say Mahrez.
Mahrez did not score. Back to you, Ollie.
David Silva.
Yes, he's on the board.
I get all of the rest of the people now. It is 3-3.
Nathan's got 4, so.
Oh, massive.
Raheem Sterling.
Yep, Raheem Sterling did
Oh,
score in that.
5-2.
5-1. So, Ollie, get this one right,
5-1,
and
sorry.
you are within 3.
Sterling was my next guess.
Who else would have played? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because City could just play. There's like 18 players, 15, 16 players. City could just play at any given time.
Yeah, there's
Which one?
Mahrez.
Bro, I said that.
Oh,
Yeah, I gave you a pass on Ipswich. I'm gonna have to not give you one here.
I thought you would. For some reason, I thought maybe you hadn't.
John Stones.
Nope.
I'll go for the back.
Okay, I'll go for the person I was going to say that wasn't that then. Oh no, I don't know if I want to say him now.
You might as well.
Yeah.
Fernandinho.
I don't know, I've weirdly thought he scored. I might have said that. Bernardo Silva.
Oh, good shout, but no.
Well, there you go, Ollie. I mean, that must mean something. Not that I know who it is now.
Sane? Was he there then?
Oh, yeah.
Another good shout, but no, he
No.
didn't score. He might have been there. I think that was probably when he left.
Yeah. Christ, who else was playing
One
for
more
City
name.
at that point? Who else was even playing for City? A good shout. Rodri wasn't there, was it? At that point.
I've got a name in my head that I'll say next, but
That's good. I've got to try and figure out who that is. Cancelo.
Not Cancelo.
Gundogan?
Favourite.
Not Gundogan.
Is it?
wasn't scoring.
Who else played for Man City when was an attack? I'll say Foden.
It's not Foden.
Yeah.
Ollie. If Ollie gets this wrong, I'm going to give you a bit of a clue.
Okay.
I don't know if this person's been said because I feel like he has now, but Walker.
Not Walker.
Give us the clue.
Right, seriously.
You
You
do a
lot
buzz
are
in if you're given a clue.
Okay, it's a buzz in. It's not a very good clue, but it should hopefully give it away. You're going to kick yourselves because this guy scores a lot. Actually, and this is the big clue, get ready to buzz in. Maybe he's more known for his assists.
Oh, De Bruyne, Nathan. De Bruyne. That was so me.
I said De Bruyne first, but you said your name and I didn't say my name.
No, I heard Nathan say De Bruyne and his name
I mean,
first.
we're not going to trust your Wi-Fi, are we?
I mean, I said it a second after Gerrard
Well,
stopped.
okay.
You said it'd be 3 seconds. There was a 1, 2, 3 in 16.
My Wi-Fi's actually been fine on here, so... you know.
I'll take the loss. So I didn't buzz in with my name, but I said De Bruyne before you said De Bruyne.
Okay. Me didn't, but okay. Right.
Just quick.
Oh, yeah, there's just confirmation of the goal scorers. In case
I
you
can't
didn't
believe I
read it.
didn't think of De Bruyne.
Yeah.
Was
Oh
their
my.
best player.
Right.
You
Now this is a good one. I like this question.
Okay.
This just came to mind. Obviously, what's come out since regarding this and the competition isn't great, but
City
nonetheless,
question.
the question was already on there. So we're obviously all quite well known to Wembley because we've been there a few times. Not necessarily for the FA Cup, but we've done the journey. But what I want to know is how many miles is there between St James's Park and Wembley Stadium?
This question is built for you, Ollie, because you drive.
I don't count each mile as I go.
Yeah, but you should know. You should be alright. So
Wait, what? So what? You just want the distance in miles distance from Exeter to Wembley?
St James's Park, exactly.
and then, so the ground, ground.
So Exeter, basically, yeah.
I have no idea. My concept of like what miles.
So who's going
Ollie's
first on the
first on
alternate?
this one.
Ollie, your guess first then?
Well, I'm trying to think. I roughly know the distance from Exeter to Sheffield. All right. Now I'm trying to think.
How far is it from Exeter to London?
It's got to be shorter. The distance has got to be shorter. I'm pretty sure it's like a 3 hour journey.
Yeah, to London's about 3.5.
Yeah, Sheffield's like 4 going on 5. So I know Sheffield's roughly. So I'm going to say, and this is where it's completely wrong. 160 miles.
Nathan.
I'm gonna go 175.
He's only got it bang on.
The shout, baby, shout talk.
I'm glad I
There we
didn't say
go.
all 2 points if you get it within 2, because then it would be more of a route. Oh my god!
It's a quite
I was
speed.
when Ollie said 160, I was like, okay, maybe if Nathan goes for 200, Ollie can get some points. goes and gets exactly right.
Funny,
I
was going between 170 to 180, and I was like, "Nah, I'll just go lower, 160," because I think Sheffield's like 210 or something like that. It's gonna be wrong.
Well,
now.
Cheltenham's 100, and I know that the London journey's like an hour more, so I'd have probably gone around that as well had I not known the answer, obviously. But yeah, that's the end of that round. You'll be happy to hear, Ollie, because you have been
7-1,
battered.
I mean,
It
like
is
a refund.
7-1. Huh?
7-1.
Might be.
7-1 today.
It should be 6-2. I said to point first, but you know.
Yeah,
No, you didn't. You when you see your recording, realise that you're wrong.
But that's the first thing. I'm not gonna lie to you. The first thing I'm gonna do when we get off this call is actually go back, send you the recording, and prove to you I said it first.
I heard Nathan first. Honestly, I did.
Yeah. So that's when you're in the net. And
It might have been Nathan might have gone De Bruyne and then gone Nathan De Bruyne, but I heard De Bruyne.
That is literally how I said.
First.
Nah.
Yeah.
Prove my point.
Here's your chance to bring it back, Ollie, with the next round. Oh, it's a
I don't do good on this.
it's a 1-2 football
Alright.
favourite. What's going to become one?
Give
It's
me a
supposed to be mine.
quiz on everything that's not just football, because you know.
So we've got 4.
Looks general.
On
Four
FM
names.
injury types, I'd smash that right now.
All right, let's go.
4 names. So Nathan, you're first on this one, I believe. I believe this is a Wikipedia one first. So I've had it.
Rangers, Tottenham, Sunderland. A lot of time at Aston Villa. Oh, look, I don't know. Started at Rangers. That tells me that they're Scottish more than anything. And then at Tottenham, a long time. Oh, I know who it is. Alan Hutton. I can't remember what his name was. Scottish Cafu.
I don't even recognise him.
Okay, that's good
Classic
then.
player. Birmingham scored that great goal against Birmingham.
Yeah,
That's
you know the Birmingham goal. So the next one is the clues one. So it goes 3 points for the first clue, 2 for the second, 1 for the first. So
on
Ollie,
this one.
Ollie first on this one. But what I might do is let Ollie be first on the next Wikipedia one instead. So you both have a crack first if he knows it straight away. So on the clues one, it can be like a buzzing. Do you think?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Right, here we go then. Oh.
Ooh. Anyone. Is
Any
it player
stabs?
or manager?
This is a player.
Player.
Current players. You can't tell us.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, current player. I'll tell you.
Oh,
Because if you get it off this, fair play.
so he would have been a young player when this.
Or he's just really old.
Still playing. That was Mourinho's team.
It
The
must.
only player I can think of is Melito, and obviously he's not playing anymore. He was about 30 minutes Athens.
Let's say he was 20 years old. He'll now be like 31.
31, yeah. So it's going to be a player that is in the later stages of their career, was playing 2010. Which is impressive.
I don't know. I'm passing on this one, so I'll just go for it.
I think I'm going to pass as well. Hang on.
You're already
Right,
got a nice lead.
next one then.
Rub it in, innit?
I only have. How many times the team reached 22 goals and 25 points? The club joined it now in the Championship. So that could be Fulham. I think Fulham might be QPR, maybe.
Ipswich.
League One.
I don't think so.
Swansea could be the team. I might as well just throw someone to help out, and then you're able to guess.
Throw Ollie a bone.
Come on, man. If you just want to text me what the answer is, and I'll just say it on behalf.
22 goals, 125 appearances. That would say midfielder, would it not? To me, I see that. I see midfielder.
Nah, mate. I think you need to look. You're on the wrong task. You should look for just lethal goalkeepers. All right, you look on that route. Lethal goalkeepers.
Club would join now in Championship, so it could have joined Fulham. So this would have been a decently sized deal, like in terms of recognition when it happened, I assume. Because then he was a Champions League winner, and then he's going to a club that weren't putting up any trees in the Prem. But I still don't know, and I'm not.
I can't even name you a single player that I could have a punt with. I honestly can't tell you.
Yeah, no, I can't. My knowledge of the.
Yeah, I didn't want to make these like too easy. I ended up making them maybe a bit too hard.
I think some people might have got it. Maybe on TikTok.
I wasn't really into football back then. I only got into it in like the last 6 years.
Well, you'll have seen what this person did next for the next clue. So get ready to buzz in for this one.
Oh, Nathan's. Gerrard and Shaqiri.
Oh. Not Shaqiri.
Say,
come on, Ollie.
I don't know.
I was in the World Cup, wasn't it? Oh.
I don't know.
In the Championship, Euros. I don't know this one. This Euros.
This Euros. He scored, and he did a bit of a dodgy celebration, which was actually really bad.
Oh God! Why don't I know?
Hospital question. This.
So he would have been in the headlines recently.
Yeah. I didn't see any dodgy celebrations in the Euro.
None spring to my mind either.
Okay, do you want me to tell you, Ollie? Are you going to have a crack at a guess here, or do you want to?
I swing at someone that was at the Euros that might be a bit older.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
And that scored a goal.
Yeah, older players who scored a goal. We're thinking midfielders. Don't know. Who's?
I was thinking Shaqiri, I was thinking Stoke, and then I was thinking celebration. He did that eagle thing against someone in the World Cup or like the Euros before last. So that's why my thinking was that.
Yeah.
It was against one of them other European teams.
I've gone blank. I've honestly gone blank.
Give us another clue, please.
Nathan just gave you actually a big clue.
Why? I was thinking about. I wasn't listening.
Swiss.
He said the Championship team.
Oh, is it Stoke?
There's the club he joined in 2013, Stoke City.
He'd already said. I already knew he Stoke from when he said Shaqiri. I said Stoke's a good shout.
Yeah, but you didn't know. You just said it was a good shout.
Stoke. Oh, I know who it is.
You know who it is. We might as well say it.
Yeah.
The only person I was going to say is Arnautovic, but I didn't have a clue.
Well, can I buzz in? Nathan. He didn't say it, did he? Arnautovic.
Ollie, man!
Stinker.
I just said Arnautovic.
The only person you was going to say was Arnautovic.
No, I didn't. I said the only person I can think of, so I'll say it, is Arnautovic. But
No, so I'll say that phrase is different.
I'm sorry, I can't give it to you. Did you not see my face drop when you said that?
Well, no, because I thought I said it. I said it as my guess because I thought that's the only person I could think of. But go on, give it to me.
I'll give him the point
because I gave you another clue. To be fair, you said the name first. So if Nathan's happy to give you the point, I'm happy to give you the point.
I'm gonna
I'll
lose
give the
anyway.
point
Give it to Nathan.
He can have it on Arnautovic, 70.
I'll give you the point. You said the name.
It was 80. Oh,
Come on,
Wikipedia. You're going first.
I
Come
said
on.
set up before it. Oh, fuck off.
Yeah. Okay, am I on the right lines of saying this is a right?
Yeah.
No, go on, I didn't get it right.
No, I know who that is now, though. Is it Davide? What's his name?
Davide.
Yeah.
It is correct.
Am I trying to say the right name here?
Yeah,
You've said some syllables that are right.
I think you're getting his first name and his second name put
I
together.
know who it is. He's like the. I know who this is. David. How do you say? I can't say names.
Probably say actually what his name starts with rather than Davide. And we're basically giving you what it is, like by telling you it's alright. His name though, his first name.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we want his last name preferably.
His last name's really more important for this.
I honestly thought his last name was the one beginning with a D.
Oh, no.
I swear everyone called him by his first name then.
No.
No.
Oh, I don't know, just go for it. I know the player.
Is it Gibril Sidibe?
Yeah, there you go.
There he is in all his pixel glory.
That's a terrible picture.
What did you say his name was?
Sidibe.
Sidibe.
So what's his last name?
Sidibe.
Yeah, so I was just saying the last name, but without.
You were saying Gibril Sidibe. You
Yeah.
were shipping their names together. You're saying Jabide.
This is.
And I believe it or not, I can't give you that.
That's a different player. He plays somewhere else. That's a region. That's a region on Football Manager.
Oh my god!
It's because I got the point one. I got Untitled, but everyone misconstrued it, and I knew who that player was. This is just.
That's you. That you should be angry at yourself saying Jabide, talking like he's Ivory Coast region. This is a different thing.
Right.
Right.
Last
Buzzing
one
again.
of these guesses. This is a buzzing. Remember, Ollie?
Yeah.
To say your name.
To say Ollie's as if you're going up for a header.
Oh, I mean, I'm trying to make it real clear when I'm saying it as my idea because apparently it wasn't.
So bitter.
I've only been signed to one Premier League club permanently throughout my career, which I started at.
I mean, doesn't mean he
hasn't
left to gone to any other club. A lot of players have only been to one Premier League club.
Okay, let me clarify that. He has been permanently signed to one club. He's had 2 loan moves, though.
I was going to say, because if he's only been... And he's never left.
So he's been for a while.
He's still there right now, yeah.
Why didn't he sign to one Premier League club permanently?
Maybe someone like Milner bounced around a lot, so they wouldn't be here. I don't know. I mean, you should know it. We should know it because it's someone that's been a fixture in the Premier League seemingly for a while. But makes my mind think to goalkeepers. But obviously that might not be the case.
Yeah, that's because I wasn't thinking goalkeepers.
But then I don't know who. Someone like Ben Foster's bounced around a lot. And that's really only.
Let's say they started their career when they were.
They're going to be old.
Let's say they were 18. If it's now, how many years was 2004?
Maybe 35.
17 years, yeah.
They just need to retire, don't
they? How good they are.
Yeah, if they're Man United, they're like winning us again. Down.
I'm cool with passing. Get another clue.
Yeah, go on.
Let me squash that goalkeeper pipe dream, Nathan.
Okay, it's not goalkeeper.
I have 50.
Okay.
Just playing central midfield.
Central midfielder, old central midfield experienced heading team. Play for one Premier League club, which rules out Matic, who I was thinking about. Does he play for Arsenal? No. Villa? No. Chelsea? No. Crystal Palace? No. Not. He wouldn't play for City. He wouldn't play for Liverpool.
No, I was gonna say
I don't think he plays for United.
I feel like if it was Liverpool, you would have said it off the bat.
Yeah, well, Milner's the only. Milner obviously played for like 6 different teams, so it won't be him. Who else plays is old central midfielder in the Premier League? That is right. There aren't many. I don't think.
I can't believe people have.
Can I have a swing?
Yeah.
Nathan's Mark Noble.
Oh shit! I forgot to put a picture of Noble in. But yeah, you'd have got it. You'd have got it from the last one.
West Ham is retiring this season, isn't he? Retiring relatively young for a midfielder.
That is Bayern Munich Arsenal style because Nathan is 10-2 in front.
It's just one of them.
Yeah,
sometimes you don't turn up.
I said at the start I was going to lose anyway.
Ollie Barefoot counts cost of refund.
But you say this, Ollie. You could actually pull it back in this one, depending on.
I don't win. When we did the lockdown quizzes, I never won Kieran's because Kieran's knowledge is very much. He always goes for old, like prior to when I started following football.
Yeah, mine and Nathan's football knowledge, I think, is quite similar.
Yeah, I'm much more like the last 6-7 years, whereas you guys.
I try and tailor it to you, Ollie. I really do, but it's hard.
Did you not say you questions tailored to us?
Yeah, I said a few do. Right.
30 seconds to name what?
Yeah, that's the name of the thing, isn't it?
Oh, is it going to be name French players like you did before?
Yep. So if Nathan has a mind blank and gets 1 point and you just go on a mad run and gets 25, it's half a point per answer as well.
This is just
okay.
No, I'm gonna have a mind blank now.
We'll go for it. This is probably the worst.
There's no pressure on me here whatsoever. If you give me Nigerian Premier League players of all time, I'm gonna just stop.
I'm not giving you that because Ollie, you are up first.
Okay.
So I've got ready. And if Ollie's nice enough, he might add it in the edit as a little timer. Is he going to do that?
No.
Okay. Anyway, right. Okay, so you will have 30 seconds to name as many from when I finish saying what they are.
Okay, is it me first?
30 seconds to name as many players who joined the Premier League in the latest transfer window. Has to have been a fee. Are you ready? Go.
It's the latest transfer. Ronaldo. He signed permanently. Who else did Man United sign? Varane. Who else was signed? Oh my God, I'm actually struggling so much. Lukaku. No, Rodri wasn't that. I'm trying to think. Oh, Ings. Danny Ings. Who else? Leon Bailly. Whatever he's called. Ramsdale. Arsenal got loads. I don't know the young right back. Lokonga or whatever it's called on the middle of the pitch. God, Norwich have got so many players. Who else was signed? Man United signed. That's 30 seconds. That is hard. Thinking about.
I know.
To be fair, I was trying to think.
I wasn't going to give you Danny Ings because maybe I didn't clarify this part brilliantly. But it does say who joined the Premier League, as in they can't already be in the Premier League.
I was thinking
but I didn't specify that, so I'll let you have it.
Okay, I just for some reason thought join Premier League teams. Yeah, first.
You got.
That makes sense.
7 points, which equates to 3.5.
Okay, we'll take it.
That's not bad. It's Brown.
Who else joined?
You won 5.5.
To be fair, this is Konate. We could sit here for a while.
But there's now I'm thinking about you had the Arsenal guy that rejoined permanently.
Yeah, there's like 50. I did a quick count.
Yeah, well, I'm ready to go.
Right,
Nathan. Quick fire.
Now, Ollie, I thought you would do better. So this may seem biased if Nathan just rattled off loads here, but I mean, yeah, here we are. So Nathan,
let's count on my hands how many I could have got it.
Okay, right. You have 30 seconds to name as many left-footed footballers.
What?
Go.
No, Eddie. Alex Hartridge. Cristiano Ronaldo. I don't know Eddie. Left-footed. Eze. This is the one thing I know nothing about. Footed, kit numbers, anything like it kills me. Colin Daniel.
Who's got a good left foot?
Colin Daniel. Jack Sparks. Andy
That's
Robertson.
time.
Andy Robertson.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie to you.
Messi, Gareth Bale.
You know what?
Salah.
I don't know.
I'm not gonna lie to you. All I would have done then is I would have just named any and all footballers that I know, and then you could have just figured
I
out.
should have just named left backs. I should have just named all left backs.
Yeah, why? You could have named any footballers, and I bet you like 50% of them would be left-footed.
Yeah, I know no footedness of players. I know nothing about.
Oh,
I
man.
believe Messi, Ronaldo, they should be two-footed, not just one.
Which
I got
Right.
one.
So that's you got 3 there, so that equates to 1.5. So you're on.
Wait, what did I said?
11.5.
Daniel and Sparks,
Yeah, and you said Alex Hartridge, so that's 3.
Partridge, Robertson. Did I say Robertson?
Nah.
Yeah, time was up when you said that.
Ah,
If you did say it, I did say I clued in times up with that, right?
yeah.
So the next one for you, Ollie. This is where it's slightly tailored to both of you, but kind of not.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll understand why soon, because this is just going to be a battle of naming as many people as you can, obviously. Right, so you have 30 seconds to name as many current Liverpool players as you can.
For me,
Yeah.
Anderson, Salah, Mane. Why am I struggling? Oh my God, Jota. No, Shaqiri left. Jesus Christ, why am I struggling so much? Van Dijk. Trent. You've got Robertson. You've got. I'm actually struggling so much. Milner, we've already said. Oh my God. Oh my God. Minamino. No, he's out on loan, but he's still currently actually a Liverpool player. Is that time, would you say?
Yeah, time's up.
Minamino's at the club.
What?
Yeah.
Minamino's at Liverpool.
Yeah, that's
Played
what
the other day.
Oh yeah, he is. He's not out on loan, is he? Well, there you go. My God, I couldn't think of Alice for some reason.
It's
I
a
was like,
different pressure when it's on you.
I was like,
Yeah.
You got 9 correct answers there. Therefore, you got 4.5 points. So, I mean, Nathan, we can do your last one if you want, but you have
I
already
mean, we'll
won.
go for it. Yeah, we can go.
Okay, right. Well, no hanging about. United players, go.
Henderson, De Gea, Jones, Mata, Matic, Rashford, Martial, Ronaldo, Fernandes, Elanga, Diallo, Van der Beek, McTominay, Fred, Bailly, Lindelof, Maguire, Shaw, Dalot, Tellez, Wan-Bissaka, Lee Grant, does he still kick about? Tom Heaton. I think I've named enough. Cavani.
Yeah, we'll call it there then. So that was 1, 2, 3.
you got 24. So 12 points.
Oh, that's a good point. To be fair, I did have, obviously, I kind of knew it was going to be
I got
players on my one.
23 because I'm pretty sure Dalot's joined into Milan permanently.
Dalot's
played the other day.
still there.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he's
Never
still
mind.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still there.
Oh, so yeah, you finish on about 25. So you won.
Was that the whole
Retain
point?
the belt.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay.
So there we go. I've retained my belt. Very happy to do that. Two title defences now, the O2F Championship. Next week will be, well, the next time we record it will
Wait,
be...
hang on. You won it. You won it off me.
Oh, I won it.
It's
It's my
your
first
title
defence. Sorry,
Yeah.
it's my first defence. I apologise to the previous champ, the inaugural.
The
champ.
inaugural.
Yeah, but we will be doing it next week's going to be a number 1 contenders match between Ollie and Kieran. I'll be in charge of the quiz. Let's see who's going to contend next. But that does bring an end to the O2F podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Check us out on social media, either 12football or 12football UK. And also take a look at 12football.com for all the latest written pieces from our growing list of contributors around the world. We'll see you next week.